Hi, hello, welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. This candle may or may not go out if the, this is a little bit agitated. Okay, so a couple changes to the 1111 Divine Lovers series. This is going to take place of the old revolving door. So revolving door will still continue, but revolving door is going to be an ad hoc reading. What that means is anytime I need to look at any type of karmic situation, and in the future when any other oracle gets on the channel and needs to look at any karmic situation, whether it's a celebrity event, which we won't actually talk about the celebrities, we'll talk about the collective consciousness and the karma and the illusion going on with the matrix or Illuminati. That's when we'll use the revolving door. We'll use it to do multiple spreads, but it won't be like recasting the cards successively. It'll be like switching the cards. I do it with the zodiac readings. You'll see me change the gates. It's the two cards in the middle. Okay, so that's the revolving door when energies come and come and come and come and come. It's like say it's a 30-minute tarot reading altogether. It'll be 5-minute spreads, maybe 4, 5, 6, 5-minute spreads. So we're still going to do the 1111 Divine Lover series, but what we're going to do now is we're going to do it bi-monthly, so new moon, full moon, and we'll talk karmic and twin flame in the same reading. Part of it was people were getting confused before, and it was just really hard to keep up. Sometimes I don't want to do karmic. Sometimes I don't have the right energy, and so forcing myself to do it this way, it'll make it easier to get it out there to the public. Okay, so I have a few of the energies already ready, and you know the 1111 Divine Lover series. It's an 11 by 11 card spread. Oh, oopsies. Okay. Don't get excited, y'all. I know we just had a fun card go off the board, but the king's out, so that doesn't really matter. Okay. It takes it from Venusian energy to solar energies. Okay, let me scoot this over in case the camera's not catching everything. So y'all can still call me Gorgeous if you need to. I'm starting to go by another name. And if you're confused, just call me whatever you need to call me. Okay, so that was the first 11. Or the first 10. We're gonna pull one more for the central card, the 11th card. And then I'll read the energies and go from there. So in the third dimension, this partnership, it seems, so it's a full moon, so I'm going to start with the karmic part, and then the second round I'll do the twin flame part. So soulmates can be either karmic, they can be twin flame, and divine masculine, divine feminine. It's much less what your anatomy is, what your gender is, and it does actually shift every 18 months or so. Specifically, when the nodes shift, the twins, the partners, the soul, the divine counterparts, they kind of assume a different position in the union. Now, Vertex of Abundance, we believe in imposti denetischen, the idea, the theory of denetischen. It in the nether regions, really what it is, where us priestesses are from. Your twin flame is you, anchored into the physical through a member of the soul group. So you, if you're in a divine practice, if you have a spiritual practice, a devotional path, you've already met your twin. It's your goddess, your god, whomever. And you can anchor that energy into the physical to a member of your soul group, but you must be in alignment. So if you're not of service, you're not on your path, you're going to be attracting more karmic situations. Now, karmic situations is a soulmate, but they're not a catalytic soulmate. They're not one that you could form a life partnership with. You can change the agreement with. Typically, if you're suppressing, repressing, projecting your shadow onto other people, you're going to attract a karmic soulmate so that you can wake up. You can have a mirror to what's really alive in you, your true authentic self. Okay, so in the third dimension for the karmic assessment, it seems like mind and beliefs is a challenge. Now, there's finally a situation. Oh, by the way, the divine masculine is on this side, the divine feminine is on this side. Okay. So the side closer to is the divine masculine, closer to the camera is the divine feminine. Let me check the camera real quick. Okay, good. And let me just move this candle off camera because this candle needs a spanking. Okay, good to go. All right. So, here in the third dimension, it seems like both parties have been looking at ways to comb their mind. I was going to say purify their mind, but comb their mind. For the masculine, something's clearly over. For the feminine, there's movements to change the belief system. There's movements to attain sovereignty. There's movements to practice a craft, a principle. They've gone through some type of initiation, especially in the world. So they're now leaving behind the material affairs and going towards the spiritual affairs. They're leaving behind the external world and going towards the internal world. And the universe blesses them for that. There's some type of equal beneficial nourishing energy exchange, maybe not with the mate, maybe not with the twin, maybe not with in the union, but it is happening with the self. Okay. Now, in terms of the feelings, it's like they are waiting. They've been very patient. They're methodically trying to move something forward. Okay. Now, I feel that they're trying to ascend the relationship. Okay. And unless there's a clear ending from the past, I would advise against that. Okay. I do sense that the masculine thinks they could come back at any time. The feminine is probably going to be most receptive to that. Now, in the divine self, what's going on in the future is that the feminine, regardless if you're male or female, feminine is the receptive energy, is the one that takes energy and creates it a higher octave from it. The masculine would be the active energy. They're not so receptive. They actually tend to go after what they want and they would project externally. Okay. So it's external experience. The feminine is going to have internal experiences. Be they're going to be made to feel things, to experience things, to take things and move them to a high vibration outcome. The divine masculine, in his highest aspect, he knows who he is and what he wants and can clearly communicate that through having a vision. It might be drives, desires, passions, motivations. Okay, the feminine, in her highest aspect, she's going to know who she is and she's going to know her self-worth and value so that she can either say yes or no in supporting the masculine in whatever his or their, regardless of the gender. If the man doesn't know what he wants, the feminine is not going to be able to support him. The man provides stability. The feminine provides, excuse me, the masculine provides security, okay, and stability. The feminine provides balance, okay, and civility. So if the masculine doesn't know who he is and what he wants to go out into the world and accomplish, the feminine is really not going to be able to support him. Now she may try, but then again, that's karmic situations because it's going to bring up a lot of shadow, a lot of shame. And I'm seeing that in the fifth dimension or in the mental body, that the feminine is well, for all intents and purposes, the feminine is wanting, hoping, wishing, praying, conjuring up, yearning. Now this is positively aspected, but there is some type of ending. I feel like the masculine needed to have a death or put an end to something. Maybe get a little bit of a separation, cutting something out of his life, out of their life. There may have been an addiction that they needed to come over. It's a very small extent. They were trying to move into some harmony, unilateral. They might have had to reconcile a situation. Doesn't quite look like a partnership or a marriage. And if it was a marriage or partnership, this would have been already over. They were also resting and recovering. they needed to have the universe kind of reflect back to them what was going on. So they needed their life and the energy around them to kind of move on, move forward. On the feminine side, the feminine's been working on themselves, building themselves up literally. We have initiation, adepthood, and mastery. Now, the initiation is going to be with starting and beginning the contact, the physical union of this connection. Now, this is more of a karmic assessment. So, feminine, if there's not a lot of movement and you're waiting, the masculine might be still moving through some things, whether or not you're aware of it. Okay. They need to think creative. They're kind of a one-track mind or a one type of person. Now, it's not that they have an inability to be spiritual, an inability to kind of think in multiple facets or be dynamic. It's that they have a set way of doing things that's kind of ego-driven or libido-driven, and they need to mix and match. Okay. Now, feminine, you're moving into generosity with yourself, charity with yourself. So you need to be giving to yourself. You can't sit there and hold on to the feelings because you might be sitting there focusing on the fact that there was an ending. You might still have hurt feelings about an ending that went down. Now, this ending, I'm not getting timing indicators. This ending would have been some time ago. Because you were trying to yoke yourself to this person, feminine. You may have been trying to take the relationship to another level, and it was never going to get there. So let's now go and see. Let's do the assessment and see what's going on. Actually, let me shuffle this into the deck. Okay, so feminine, wanting, hoping, wishing, praying, waiting in a cycle for somebody to move on, move forward. So this is the most particularly difficult and interesting divine partnership assessment for the karmic folks because it's saying two different things. Wait for this person, but don't do it without self-worth and value because if and when they do return, if it's not at the level you need them to be, you need to be willing to walk. That's part of the test. Now, I would love to tell you, oh, F this mother, say goodbye to him, right? No, because you're very clear, very aware that this is your person, that they're moving on, moving forward towards you, but they're taking their time. And they are taking their time because they are confronting something. It might be a dark journey of the soul. Hidden in here could be addiction. So that it may be that they're trying to overcome something. Because in the heavens, they're saying there's the opportunity for victory here, but unfortunately, the masculine is going to need to free their soul and return back to their divine self. And I am seeing here that the masculine had to, Eight of Cups, climb that mountain out of the dark and get to a place where they had self-mastery, they had done their self-introspection, they had done their soul searching. Again, the feminine was just waiting. She came to different spiritual perspectives, different spiritual knowledge. She might have taken time and well, it says I'm hearing self-initiation. So, and we do have the combination here for the twins. We have the masculine, we have the feminine, and we have the twins, and the devil's not out. So even though I want this to be karma, and for most of you, if you're doing your work and you are have your self-worth and value intact, strength, courage, and wisdom as well, this may work out for some time. Now, I'm not saying forever. because we don't have the Empress and the Emperor out. We need the Empress, the Emperor, the Temperance card, and the Lovers card for that without the Devil. So out of 11 major arcanas, we have the Lovers card, we have the Temperance card. So you're twins. And this can be catalytic, harmonious soulmates. Why? Because the Chariot's here with the Sun. That means this is a catalyst. I feel like the feminine will eventually outgrow the masculine. The feminine may have already outgrown the masculine, but she's waiting for him, holding on for him. He is going to make some type of journey. He is going to have an emergence. He is going to reemerge, yeah, we can call it a new beginning. But I actually feel like he's finally going to go on the journey to learn his authentic self. And he does that through the feminine, and the feminine is going to need to release him at another time. That might be why it's karmic, because I'm being told to tell you to have your self-worth and value intact when he shows up. It may be because you need to say no to some people. For others of you, it may be that it's not a forever situation, that you guys may be together for a year or two and be fine. So this is a challenge, especially with people who seek out love readings from me. Happily ever after is a figment of your imagination. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you cannot set your life up that way. I'm going to give you a different example because it's easier for me. It doesn't cause me to lose my cool. Okay, say you own a family business. Say you started a business and it's really successful. Say, for instance, this arbitrary number. Let's hope you're making more than $100,000 a year in a business, but I'm not right now. I was for a small second. Not right now, not anymore. But say you have a family business. Say you're profiting $100,000 a year. You may not want to sell that business. You may want to keep it in the family for the next 5, 10, 15 generations. But if you do not structure the business as if it could be sold, you cannot count it in your net worth as an asset. If it's not structured correctly, if somebody comes and asks you to buy it and for whatever reason you want to sell that business, if you don't have it structured properly, paperwork, the formation, the legality of the business, everything documented, if you don't have that situated as if it could be sold at any moment, you cannot consider it an asset. It's the same thing with a divine partnership. If you're not ready to walk at any time, even if you never end up walking, it's not a twin flame situation. A twin flame situation will not tolerate karma. If you lack self-worth and value, if you lack strength, courage, and wisdom, if you're not secure and safe in yourself, it's not really a divine partnership. It is a karmic partnership. Okay. Now, soulmates are divine partnerships, but not all soulmates are twin flames. Not all soulmates are life partnerships. Not all twin flames are life partnerships. You can meet your twin and be with them for 1 week and never see them again. And that was your soulmate. Just because they're your soulmate doesn't mean that they're your twin. Just because they're your soulmate doesn't mean you get to be with them for the rest of your life. A true twin flame situation is just like twins, fraternal twins or identical twins. Those two entities together make up a demigod. Okay, so if the creator, if the universe allows for a twin flame situation, y'all are doing work out in the community. When the world, when the environment, when the community sees the dynamic you have between each other, it should lighten up a room. It should invoke the grace of the angels. Okay, so the nature of the situation is that something's emerging, something's moving forward. There will be a success and a victory. There's an opportunity for opening and initiation, self-initiation for the feminine. For the masculine, they're going to solve a mystery about their authentic self. Their true self will be emerging. They're going to heal from all the karma and toxicity of the past. They have a lot of wounding. Okay. Now, the challenge, the obstacle here is that there is a difficult thing to face. There's a rude awakening. And until the masculine has an aha moment, the feminine is going to be waiting. Now, the obstacle for the feminine is that the feminine knows that these two are there is a union, whether if it's a twin union or not. There's a soulmate union all the same. And this feminine has mastered their part of this union. The masculine has mastered themselves, or they will be mastering themselves. That's where it evolves into. Now, the focus for the masculine is getting out of something that's difficult. Up until recently, they were going through a difficult ending. They may still be going through this difficult ending. The evolving situation, they do. They make it out, they move forward. And it will be having to leave something behind, and there might be a little bit of indecision in the matter right now. Because 10 swords plus 6 swords is 16, 16 minus 13 is 3. So they're suffering from a broken heart. 13 is the grade of the king. There's one king on the board. So they're suffering from a broken heart, from a wounded ego. Something got in the way of their happiness. It could have been this connection here. I wouldn't be surprised. Normally it wouldn't be. But this is not a really nasty karmic situation. If you want a shorter reading, go look at your rising sign reading and your moon sign reading. The Twin Flame 1111 Divine Lover series, it's an hour long, twice a month. It's like a 45-minute reading that comes twice a month, from now on at least. So something got in the way of their happiness. There's an invisible 3 of Swords here. And they're healing, they're recuperating from it, because that 3 of Swords turns into a 4. Now, I don't know if whatever got in the way of their happiness was the feminine, the divine feminine, got in the way of the divine masculine's previous union, whether it was a marriage, whatever, or if these two met each other and had that twin flame recognition or soulmate recognition, and the masculine has to break free from, because the evolving situation, he's moving forward, he had to confront something. It can very well be, if neither of you is a Leo rising or has their Mercury in Leo or Moon in Leo or Venus in Leo, it would be that the masculine had challenges leaving their, most likely his, but their previous counterpart. It would have been one of those angry, kind of volatile female types. I wouldn't quite call them a femme fatale, but they mess things up. They may have rage, they may have anger, they may fight dirty. And there definitely would have been fear of loss too. So part of this recuperation may be that he's not going to, okay, there we go. So for those of you who's waiting for the masculine to leave the previous person, it would be heterosexual relationship. Part of what I'm picking up is that he was decimated financially when they separated. And so part of it is he wasn't going to feel open to this connection until his work and his finances were more healthy. You know, I tend to fall very heavily for Capricorn, Scorpio energy. And I know Capricorn moon men, almost all of my significant partnerships were with Capricorn moon. Those guys have a very hard time feeling sexy, feeling loving if they have no money in their bank account. And it's funny because this is it's saying moon in Aquarius, sun in a fire sign. That's exactly what I go for. Exactly. Usually fire, sun sign, earth, moon. So I'm seeing it here. He could have had a Virgo something, more likely Jupiter in Virgo. I'm actually hearing that the top of his chart is Virgo. So that would be a Sag rising, some type of sun sign, most likely in Sagittarius, maybe Aries or Leo. Definitely. I'm hearing Aries sun, Scorpio, Sagittarius rising. The moon sign would be cusp. It would be cusp of Leo, Virgo. So that's ratcheting it down to a very specific few of you. But that's another message coming through yet again. If this guy has like a Virgo moon, he's going to be very slow recovering from this really divorce, because after he divested of his assets, it messed with his self-worth. He will eventually make it out of it, but it's going to come through him getting a bigger, brighter, better job. The blender is going on upstairs in the temple. Just, it'll only take a second. So the feminine, now, one thing that I'm seeing and hearing here is that the feminine, it took her a while to be okay waiting. So that would have meant that she needed to turn within herself and work on herself. That she's been working on the self finally, but before she would have been rushing him to get this thing together. And that was not working for him. He might have even withdrew his energy if that was the case. I do see him rushing back in, but the aha moment and the impetus to return comes from them, the masculine. So let's pull an archetype card here. This is going to be for the both. So let's pull one for the masculine, one for the feminine. We actually have three. Okay, so my suspicions were correct. Okay, so the masculine actually needs to become a Brahmin. They need a Brahmanical practice. And what the feminine was going to be doing for the masculine was being a catalyst. So this is not going to be a forever situation. The Empress is not here, the Emperor's not here. But this is a true twin flame situation, and you released karma. So it's still the revolving door section where this is karmic. Y'all have to let go of a lot, mostly the masculine. The only thing that the feminine had to do was stop feeling lonely, stop feeling rejected, stop feeling a lack of self-worth and value, get rid of their poverty consciousness. And it wasn't money. It was like worthiness, sexiness, attractiveness. Okay. So for the feminine, in the beginning, there was a loss of personal identity. This happens a lot when you are an empath and you see somebody who needs healing, but you're attracted to them as well. So you can lose yourself in that relationship because you don't know what you want intimately and you don't know what you want professionally. The truth is that they shouldn't mix. Okay. Now, loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. So that's what you've matured into, divine feminine. Divine masculine, they're actually going to end up being a coach, a mentor, a teacher of some kind. And I see it very clearly here. I was thinking that before. I just wanted to be prompted to say it. And now I'm prompted to say it. Because this masculine wakes up to his life's calling eventually. And see, it was part of the catalytic experience here was the feminine had to come into his life, make him leave whomever he was with. And it's not just leaving a person. He could have had to leave his job. He could have had to move cities. He had to confront some type of devil karma in his life, probably an addiction. And if he wasn't a drug addiction, it would have been fear. Fear of the unknown, not having his stability and security. He probably had to come to the truth of who he was and why he was here on this earth, the work he's supposed to do in the world. And it happened. And see, the part of it is you two are from the same soul group. So when you go to heaven or when you ascend, you're in the same mothership. You're not in different parts of the sky. You're actually right there in the same place. Okay. So in the beginning, the shadow would have been the inability to allow one to move on to their own role. Mastery, typically moving from student to master. But it would have been false instruction. See, the masculine is very much like, if it's not my idea, I don't like it. If it's not my idea, I'm not going to support it, right? And then he always has to know what to do, what direction they're facing, but he can't make a decision, and he definitely can't drive it forward. Up until recently, all the driving forward is on the feminine side, but it's through her not doing anything and letting him knock down every wall, obstacle, and barrier. So the feminine was really there to nurture a catalyst. Um, Now, this masculine is going to become very independent. Try not to instill guilt for them becoming independent. You need to nurture, have patience, unconditional love, and a joy of giving, regardless of what you receive in return. See, the conditional love is when you say, I'll love you as long as you do this for me. That's not real love. We shouldn't even call it unconditional love. Love shouldn't have conditions. Love in its nature is conditionless. Doesn't mean you can't have boundaries. Doesn't mean you can't affirm your self-worth and value. Doesn't mean you can't love somebody from far away by taking space for them, legal or otherwise. So I don't believe in the word unconditional love because love in and of itself, to me, it's redundant. And then we have false love. So I would rather use the word false love and authentic love. Okay. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you in respect to the karmic assessment. We're going to go ahead and do a divine partnership assessment now. Oh, I just got a prompt. I didn't even hear it. If you want to learn how to do this assessment, it's a little bit intricate. You probably wouldn't see it, but it is gnarly, gnarly, gnarly. So normally I remove all the smaller cards, but when the wild card comes out, that position stays. Okay, so we're going into the twin flame union. Those who really are twins. In the middle card, it said engagement, but I was hearing that the feminine was trying to yoke herself to the masculine. Somebody was thinking happily ever after, and it wasn't that. It wasn't happily ever after. It was like, we'll be together for 3 years. We'll both grow a lot, get a lot out of it. And when the universe gives us better options, we might have to go on that journey. So now here's the twin flame situation. And it's interesting because this card came back in the very same position. And then the sun card moved one over. Oh. Okay. So again, with the twin flames, with the divine partnership, not the karmic, you know, this is again not a forever situation. And this is more catalytic than the other one. It may be that you have the choice to take it to a twin flame situation, but somebody's going to need to communicate the love. Let me see who that somebody's going to need to be. So the somebody who needs to communicate the love is actually on the masculine. Go ahead and make your romantic feelings known. You make a romantic gesture. Go on this journey. So it seems like for the true twin flame, so I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing, but I can sense somebody out there is very confused. Your twin flame, you can meet them several times in one lifetime, or you can go several lifetimes without meeting them. So if you meet them several times in one lifetime, it might be the same person, or you may see that one twin because you do only have one twin, but you may see them in different bodies. Again, your twin flame is your higher self anchored into the physical through a member of the soul group. You may see them in multiple different bodies. Or you may make an agreement to stay with them for X amount of years in the same body. Oftentimes when we first come to Earth, our twin is not present. They have to come in through a walk-in experience. And if you're destined to meet your twin in this lifetime, you typically know before the age of 16 because you have gifts. There's something celestial about you. You have that otherworldliness about you. So the nature of the situation here is that there's transcendence on the masculine part, that the feminine is really clear on what's going on. So they're perfect. The feminine is perfect. This is a perfect reading for the feminine. The masculine is a little bit of work. The masculine needed some strength, courage, and wisdom. They needed to transcend their former self. The obstacle for them was an aha moment. They needed to wake up and heal something. The focus for them is getting over a bad ending. They need a new beginning from a very harsh ending. 10 of Swords with the Fool. So the Fool is the sun at 0 degrees Aries, aspecting Mercury, aspecting Uranus. So we have the sun here in Gemini. So there was a bad ending, but it was something, it was some mental wounding. Something was a blockage in the mind. And see, the feminine, whenever the masculine would open up about what was going on in the mind, the feminine could call on the spirits to assist. Wheel of Fortune here, it brings out Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto. Pluto's here, Uranus is here. So the masculine, the obstacle for the masculine was waking up to his own power, waking up to their own power, not non-binary people. I know you watch the channel. And so the focus would have been a new beginning from a very difficult ending. And again, finding their spiritual power. And then the sacrifice to make would be soul searching, introspection, discernment, not needing to fight, not needing to struggle. Well, struggling is kind of fine. It's the suffering that's stupid. They were suffering. And now they've gone and said, okay, well, why am I suffering? What's alive in me? I'm the common denominator. How can I take responsibility for my life? How can I own my situation? How can I show up and participate? What is the shadow lying in the shadows? What is the karma? What is the demon hiding behind the scenes? And what's alive in me? And then when he confronted that, he was able to move on with the Six of Swords. It all comes out into equilibrium here, alignment. It says, express your love. Go ahead and make a romantic gesture. Let's pull an archetype card and see what's going on. Now, I did pull student. So for the masculine, there would have been arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. So that could be one of those people, those big brains walking around, but it's all theory and no action, all theory and no practicality. So the feminine got mentor now, and the masculine got nature. And you see that there's peacock wings here. So that's a big sign to Yemaya, and also the Mami Watas and the Mami Da. So the women had to grow through, the feminine had to grow through inability to allow this person to do their own work, to imparting false instruction because they needed to feel involved. And now they're sitting back, they're taking a chill. And now they see, okay, well, I'm going to pass on wisdom and reflect the student's character. I'm going to refine their options and allow them to choose an option to go and make their own path. And see, with that Hierophant there, they're very consistent, they're very stable. And so this is a person who rules in that objective card. I mean, this third position is the object, it's like their focus. So that means that they are a spiritual person. They'll probably have some type of spiritual business. And at the very least, they operate off spiritual laws. And see, having the supporting energy of the Queen of Cups, they may have spirits of their own that they're working with. And remember, I did call out Yemeya Mami Wata. So if this isn't working for you yet and you want it, you might need to look into your spirits, because Yemeya will block you from love if you're not in alignment. Like if your spiritual life is not right, they're not going to allow you to have happiness. Sometimes they'll block your money too. I see it happen often. I have a lot of children. Not so many children. I can't take care of all of them if we're not communicating. Hey, send me an email. Let me know if you feel neglected. But I'm saying, I see this happen a lot. And so there's a message here too, and I'm sorry to say this, but listen, if you're a Black girl, listen to me. You're a queen or king, probably, not always, but more likely than not. The way that it works for Da women, especially children of Yemaya, you're not a one-man woman. You need to look at life this way. I am a queen. Every year and a half, a warrior will come present himself to me. And there may be a dowry situation where you'll go into a partnership for several years. But it's not always that way. So you should be worried about having children, and that's going to be who makes sure that you're never lonely, your child. A man, you're going to outgrow him consistently. You may have 3 really good lovers in your life that you stay with for a handful of years, and the rest it's learning lessons, expediting karma. There was a time in my life when I would have thought that that was the most idiotic thing, because I was conditioned and programmed to believe in the happily ever after and the whole nine and all that. It's not the way it actually works for spiritual people, especially. Oftentimes, you're not allowed to have a man sleep in your house on Monday, Tuesday. Okay, I've seen it all the time. You know, the spirits will send you a lover. They'll tell you, you get to keep this person for 2, 3 years and then we'll get rid of them. So if you are spiritual, you need to have your union blessed or it's not going to come together. And I feel like all that they need to do is go to, I mean, we do have the Ifal card here. So they may just need to go to divination. See, there's intellect, reasoning, communication, experience, skill, wisdom here. But it seems like in the beginning, it could have been manipulative or destructive because if one person was afraid of the other person outgrowing them, they were going too fast. There were things going on that the other person wasn't involved in. And so that their fear was coming out. But see, in a twin flame situation, karma comes out all the time, but it gets nipped right away. It doesn't linger. You don't stand in dysfunction. That's one thing that a twin flame connection will never tolerate is dysfunction. It's neither party. The union itself will handle it. So ladies, if you are daughter of Oshun, daughter of Yemaya, if you are Mami Da, Mami Wata, you need to ask Ifat permission to unify with this person. The answer will be yes. Sun card. The answer will be yes. But they might have policies and procedures, rituals. There may be some things they ask you for. We have the energy of student here. So learning, humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. So if you're open to whatever the journey brings you, it'll stick around for a while. Part of the reason I'm not saying forever is because, first of all, the masculine needs to recognize something. Second of all, the feminine needs to release, not have any expectations. Expectations are premeditated resentments. You can make an agreement and expect the agreement to be honored, but beyond that, it's really trying to control another person. And you shouldn't, a man shouldn't act a certain way because he has a penis between his legs. A woman shouldn't act a certain way because they have a uterus, or, you know, we call it a fanny. It's, you know your needs, the other person shows up to participate and you communicate your needs and the other person agrees to help you with specific needs. You cannot have the expectations that the other person's going to meet your needs automatically because you have a uterus and the other person has a penis. I know you think it works that way. That's not how it really works. Nobody else owes you anything, even if they marry you. You don't owe a person anything, even if you're married. Now, the marriage is not going to last if you don't contribute to what's alive in the person. Do you hear what I'm saying? So you would need to know what the person's needs are and contribute to their needs in order to make the relationship last. But you are obligated to nothing other than to fulfill the agreements that you made. So if in the vows or if in the partnership agreement, however you make that, legal, physical, verbal, orally, whatever, if in the partnership agreement, because we have the justice card agreements, we have the marriage, we have the lovers here, okay? If in the partnership agreement or the vows you agree to be exclusive, then okay, that's the agreement that was made. There are some very happily married twins, very happily unified twins that have an open relationship. That's more my style anyways. You know, the freedom to go and explore allows me to hold everything back and not give anything to anybody else but the person that I'm focusing on. It's going to be different strokes for different folks. And see, it's the expectation that it should be some kind of way that's when it goes karmic. The freeness to communicate, to openly explore, or to at least have dialogue, that's when it unifies. Now, most people won't be open to an open relationship, and that's actually normal and healthy. And I'm not talking about just being in an open relationship. Sometimes the guy's going to stay at home and the girl's going to go work. Sometimes the girl's going to control the direction of the relationship and the guy's going to be the emotional one. You don't know how many Aquarius women I know settle down with Cancer men. To me, a Cancer guy is a big crybaby, always in his feelings, passive aggressive, mopey, not sharing his feelings, expecting you to make him feel better, but to know why he's upset. You know, that guy would make somebody else completely happy and the person that he's with completely miserable. So you can't fault a person for what's alive in them for who they are. They are a person, they show up to the relationship. So as long as they're present and showing up, you got to navigate that. And see, in a twin flame union, it's a lot easier, no matter what comes up, difficult, positive, or otherwise. You know what I mean? It's going to move in a direction. And as long as you're growing together instead of growing apart, you'll stick around. But one person's going to outgrow the other one if one person keeps doing their work and the other one doesn't. See, a twin flame partnership wouldn't tolerate that. It would repel each other quite quickly. If this one's vibration changed too much faster than this one, repulsion. Okay, so it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. If you would like a divine partnership assessment, you can contact me at oracle@priestessgorgeous.org. I think it's marked at 162 on the website. If you email me until the new moon, until the Gemini new moon, I will give you a divine partnership assessment for $72. It's like 63% off. Okay, so until we meet again, until we read again, namaste, dandavat, and ashe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.